everyone, welcome back to the Wild Thoughts podcast. I'm your co-host Kat.
I'm your co-host Afi.
And today we're back with season 5. Can't believe we're here.
I know. Whoa.
We made it.
The premiere.
It's going to be super exciting. We have a lot of fun episodes planned. We're going to try to collab more if restrictions allow and if Zoom allows.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But we're planning for a lot of collabs, a lot of fun content coming your way. So I hope you guys are excited. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about how dating has changed. So very broad title there, but basically we're going to be talking about what dating is like now versus 10 years ago versus before COVID, and how dating has changed for women specifically. So like a lot of different topics, but it's going to be super fun. Are you excited?
So fun. I'm so excited. I love talking about these things. I feel like we're going to have a lot to like dish out on this because we're also in like our 20s, which is like, you know, prime dating time in a way, I feel like, but yeah. It'll be very fun.
And we have two perspectives because I'm in a relationship and Afi's still living the single life. But it's so fun. So we're going to have different perspectives for that. So that's going to be good.
Exactly. 100%. Okay, shall we dive into the question of the week? So this week the question was, how is dating now different than how it was before? So let's see what people answered. So they said, with dating apps, people give up more easily to find something better. True. There's a lot of options. Very true.
Yeah.
Definitely the role that social media plays in defining a relationship nowadays. Social media, that's a big obstacle. I find the stigma surrounding online dating has significantly decreased for obvious reasons. Okay, so I guess like people are not into online dating as much.
No. She means like I don't know if it's a she, sorry. Yeah. They mean basically online dating is more acceptable now because like honestly I know a lot of people
the stigma
that are
yeah,
exactly. I know a lot of people that are in committed relationships. I have cousins who like met on Tinder and now are married with children. Like it's not as taboo anymore.
Exactly. I feel like it's the way of dating nowadays. Like that's what people do,
which has its good and bad,
which
we're gonna discuss.
Exactly. Next, dating apps really be showing us how slim the pickings are. Seriously, yikes. People seem to be more direct in what they're looking for or boundaries versus 10 years ago, no playing games. People are clear in what they're looking for / expectations. Definitely harder to meet people organically these days. That is true though. Yeah,
very 100%. True. I feel like people are a lot more antisocial in like real life compared to like virtually, so people don't approach people as much.
Exactly. And I feel like now that they can do things behind their screen, they're like willing to say things like they don't have shame that they wouldn't normally say in person. And I don't know, it's like social media it's good and bad, like you said. And I think we have another one that our friend sent us. In terms of heterosexual relationships, I think women know their worth more now compared to before. So we're less tolerant to stupidities from men. That's true too. That's true in some ways. Yeah. Love that. Okay. That wraps up all our little thoughts from our viewers. And now we're going to dive into the episode.
Yeah. Everything that they said is basically what we're going to be talking about. So we're just going to be diving deeper into whatever they thought of. But first, let's talk about how dating has changed from 10 years ago, let's say, to now. So when I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, obviously I wasn't dating 10 years ago or like longer than that, but I felt like dating was a lot more spontaneous than what it is now. Like you just randomly meet someone at a bar or like on the street and like you immediately like ask them out or ask them to get coffee, stuff like that. Whereas now it's like, you got to talk. There's the talking stage. I wrote a lot of stuff on the
talking stage. Oh no.
Yeah. And a lot of people,
talking stage.
Exactly. And like I said before, a lot of people are not just going to randomly come up to you and start talking to you because like we're antisocial now. I feel like our generation like is only social on a screen, but when it comes to real life, we don't talk.
Exactly.
We don't have like meaningful conversations, you know?
Right. Exactly like Kathy said. Like I feel like back in the day, it was more like not normal, but it wasn't something crazy to just go up to someone you liked or that you found good looking or interesting and be like, hey, you want to grab a coffee sometime? Now it's like seen as like, oh, I wouldn't do that, or it's too like risque, or you're scared. Maybe you're scared of like rejection too more and just having that social media outlet now just makes things like not as organic and not as spontaneous, like Kathy said, and they're just gonna use like Instagram to find you, but then that looks creepy too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I feel like also the way society has changed has also impacted the way we date. So like firstly, I feel like we've lost trust in humanity. So like when people just come up to us and start talking, like our immediate response is like, what do they want? Like, why are
exactly.
they like,
true.
Especially for women, it's like, are they about to like attack me? Like that's the immediate response that I get. If like a man, let's say, comes up to me, I'm like, what is going on here? So I think like
exactly,
because we don't have as much trust in people as we used to, there's also that where it's like we don't want people coming up to us and we don't want to go up to them because of that.
Exactly.
And I think on the flip side, society has also allowed us a lot more freedom, and it's like it's more acceptable to be dating around, and it's a lot more casual, and like you can get to know the person before actually committing to them, which again has its perks, its benefits and its cons, but
exactly.
yeah,
I think also like the flip side of it, like how before people would come up to you more and like be spontaneous, whereas now, because that's not the norm anymore, if someone does come up to us, we kind of, it's not like romantic anymore. We don't romanticize it as like in movies and stuff. Yeah, exactly. But when it actually happens in real life, because that's not the proper way to do it nowadays, it might like kind of like how do I say, like make us doubt or just like second guess the person, because we're like, oh, that's not normal. Like, why would this person do that? So then we might not even be like interested, even if that's how it was before, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's weird how like it's switched and now it's seen as like strange.
And I think sometimes it's like, I know we still say like, oh, it would be so nice for a guy to come up to me and just ask me, like compliment me, like random. But like in reality, when we're in those situations, we're like, unless like the guy is like super smooth with the way he delivers everything, we're kind of like, please step away from me. Like, don't come near me. So I think go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. No, you finish your thought.
No, I lost my train of thought.
Okay, well, I was reading an article and it was kind of talking about like the Me Too movement and how dating has changed after the Me Too movement for men specifically. But I feel like now guys and men in general are kind of afraid also to approach women because they don't want to seem as like like, oh, they're harassing the woman. But obviously, like, just don't, like, there's a fine line between the harassing and like asking someone out, obviously. So you have to know the difference. But I feel like men are more like, they have to like tiptoe around it, or they don't want to seem like they're trying to like force someone into it. So they may be more like afraid of actually like, you know, coming up to someone and asking that in person. So I think that too has like changed things for guys.
Yeah. Which I think does make sense, because like I said, my immediate thought when a man approaches me is like, what are they about to do to me?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of like sad that that's the immediate thought that comes to mind. But like, I think we have to learn how to trust people more. And I think that's like an overall thing for our generation, is like, also because of social media, because everyone is like, we don't see them as a real person when they're behind a screen. So it's kind of like when we are interacting with real people, we're kind of like, what do you want to get out of this? Like, that's the thought that we have, you know?
Because you hear so many things, and like the like disloyal or unloyal, I don't know which one's the correct. Disloyal, disloyal or like unfaithful. Like you hear so many things, especially through social media. It's so much easier to be sneaky and disloyal towards your partner. So I think that's where like the lack of trust also comes from. But then I also read in the article that the harassing thing also for women is that when they do go on dates, men tend to be very touchy and like more aggressive. So they have like a lot of like negative experiences. So maybe that's why the like when someone comes up to you to ask you out, it's not like accepted as much, and women are not as receptive to it, and they're not like willing to say yes, because they've had those like negative experiences with men where they're like, you know, on the first date very touchy and like harassing rather, and like not consensual. So
yeah, for sure. And I know how we said like a plus to dating now is like we get a lot more freedom. Like I said, you can go on dates, you can date multiple people at the same time. But on the flip side, the freedom has also created a lot more uncertainty and confusion when it comes to dating other people, because you don't know where they stand. And a lot of people are not clear with their intentions. So like if I'm looking for a relationship, but this person wants to be casual, sometimes they'll say it, but their actions don't match up, or like they won't say it, and they'll be like, it's the way that they're giving off the vibe that they're like not really looking for something. So it's like it's a lot more confusing to kind of set not what was I
the intentions
say? Set the intentions with who you're dating.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure. And I feel like a lot of times they kind of say what you want to hear, but they like flip the switch after they get what they want or whatever. But also like something that I read was that a lot of the reason why women are struggling to date is because the men that are dating, that are in the dating pool, whatever, they're not looking for the same type of relationship as the women. So I guess like most of the women, like I think there was a survey done, they're looking for either like a serious relationship or like casual dating. And I guess it's not aligning with most of the men. And because of the fact that like dating apps are available, it's so like people have so many options that it's like dating has become just like, it's like a everyday, like an easy swipe, you know what I mean? Like and it's not continuous. It's like you could be talking to this person, think everything's going great, and like the next day they're like off of the face of the earth. Like you don't hear from them anymore. It's really strange.
Yeah. And I think that could be said for like any type of gender, any relationship. But if we're going to focus more on social media, like someone in the question of the week said, it's a lot easier to just go through your pickings. You know what I mean? It's so easy to switch from person to person that it's like, if you don't set your intentions with the people that you're talking to, they're kind of just left in the dark, and they're like, okay, yeah, I like this person, but I don't really know if they're only talking to me, if they have like someone out of their pickings that they like more. Like it's very confusing and it's very uncertain.
Exactly. And personally for me, I would say social media and dating apps, they have more like flaws to them than actual like benefits. Because well, specifically for dating apps, I feel like, because not that dating, like you could date multiple people and it doesn't have to be like have this big meaning to it just because you're going on a date, but I feel like it's becoming kind of like meaningless because the dating apps, there's like thousands and millions of people on there. There's more than one dating app. There's like 4 or 5 dating platforms available, and most people are not on all of them, not just one. And the thing, like, exactly, you can just swipe and then you're not even upset about ghosting someone or not talking to someone, because you know that you can just find someone just as good or better based on their profile, what they're presenting. So it's just like, I don't know, I feel like that's made it harder because nothing is continuous. You can't really like develop something properly. And if someone gets bored, and now we're easily bored, right? Like our generation, like we need to be like constantly. Exactly. So it's just like we just move on to the next, and it's like it's not even, and you might not even ever meet this person. You're talking to them for like 3 weeks. Like nothing ever happens.
Yeah. And a big thing is because you're talking only through a dating app or only texting and stuff, and you're never meeting this person in real life, you don't really have an obligation to them, because it's like at that point, it's like they're not really a person to you. They're just someone talking to you behind a screen. So it's like, it's very easy to ghost in that sense because you don't have any real attachment to them. And it's like, you've never met them in real life. It's probably, there's a low chance that you're probably going to see them in real life unless you actually plan something. So let me just move on to the next, and that's it.
Exactly. And like Kathy, you just mentioned, but because like it's easy for us to just detach from them, because it's just like, it's not an actual person. Well, yes, you're speaking to a person, but you don't know what they're like. You don't know what they're you're just talking behind a screen. You have their profile, their pictures. And that's what I don't like too. Like, obviously, you know, it is superficial, and you can't really blame that on online dating, because like it's a screen. Like you can't make it more human than that. But that's why it's very superficial, and everything's based on like the idea you make up in your head about them. Like you see little prompts or little things and you're like, oh, that's cute, but like, is it really? Like, it's not that amazing.
Yeah, I have a note on that, but before we get into that, I just want to say, Afi, have you ever ghosted someone?
Yes.
Okay. Me too.
No, we're bad people.
Now, why? Like, I want to ask, why did you ghost them? And then I have another
We're
question
going
after.
into the deep shit.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm getting red now.
No,
okay,
you're fine.
so,
I've ghosted someone too. So,
yeah,
multiple people.
Exactly. I've definitely ghosted more than once. I think I've grown now where I would learn to like not do that anymore because I've realized how it affects people and it could be seen as like, it could hurt someone. But okay, once I went on a Tinder date and it was my first Tinder date ever. And he was super nice, but I think I was just like in my head and I was like not super young, but just like, I just was in my head and I had never really like dated. And he like messaged me and then I was just like, oh, there's certain things that I didn't like, but I think I was like picking at things, and obviously relationships take time, but yeah, and I was just like, oh, I don't think like there's certain things he said that like rubbed me the wrong way. And then I was like, and I was scared too, so I just like, he texted me, I answered once and then he texted again, I just didn't.
Okay, so in that situation there was like stuff that they said that made you uncomfortable.
Exactly, certain things that like gave me the ick. Like I was like basically he like said like, oh, sweetie or sweetheart, and I just don't like.
Okay, men, anyone, if you're calling people sweetheart, unless you're an 80-year-old lady, don't say it. Don't say it.
Exactly, and you just met me. Like I just didn't like that, and I know it's not a big red flag, but it was just like, I don't know.
It wasn't your vibe, so it put you off.
Yeah, like just don't. And just little things. But I also think a part of it was that I was nervous and scared and I was like, so yeah.
For sure. Yeah, in my case, the people that I ghosted I've never actually met in real life. And it was more like I was texting with them on Tinder and we were texting for a while, and like the vibes were there, but I was also, like you said, I was like nervous because like I've never been on a date with someone that I haven't met in real life before. Because it scares me, because I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like the thoughts go in my head, right? So as I was texting with these people, we've been talking for a while, but like as soon as one thing is said that I don't like, I would just stop texting them, which is bad because it's like I'm building a connection with someone and then I'm just like leaving them hanging, and it's like I wouldn't even unmatch with them because you could do that. That was like an extra step.
I feel like the unmatching is harsh. But the unmatching is like, okay, why you gotta go and unmatch? Yeah. Okay, but okay. Oh, sorry. No, you finish.
Just to finish my thought, it's like because I didn't know them and I didn't have a real attachment to them in real life, I felt like I didn't owe them an explanation, which is not the case, because if you're talking with them, you are building a connection with them, and then you're just leaving them hanging. And also this was happening when I was like 18 in college, so like again, you were young. Me talking to myself, you were young.
You
didn't know.
I know, but you were. The 18 is young, like we're still young.
Anyway, but like, it's like the rude to, like I wouldn't do it now. Even if I didn't meet the person in real life, I wouldn't go some. I'd like just be straight up with people, like set your intentions.
Right, exactly. And I think ghosting was normal, like it shouldn't be normalized, but it was in a way normalized. Like it was like a thing people just do because it's so easy to just not face up, like not confront someone and not be honest with them, because you could just like lock your screen and move on with your life. And like like actually, like it's like you almost differentiate like your reality from the dating world and online dating. That's like another world. But I definitely like, I think now we know better and we should actually be like, hey, like even if it's just someone we've never met, like look, I don't really think like this is gonna work out, whatever. But it is like a scary thing to do, because it also feels like you're making the thing a big deal, and it might not be like you might think like, oh, maybe he doesn't think it's a big deal, but me like basically breaking it off or whatever, they're gonna think that I like really care about this or that like, you know what I mean? So you want to seem like nonchalant and like
especially with people that you haven't met. So like my other question for people that you have, I'm assuming you have like actually told them like, hey, this is not going to work, blah blah blah. What were you feeling compared to when you told like people you didn't really know?
Okay, wait, sorry, repeat. You said
so if you're like breaking up with someone that you like you knew in real life, and you're like saying like, hey, this is not going to work for these reasons, blah blah blah, compared to like you just like ghosting the other people.
Okay.
Go.
I've never done it in real life, but it wasn't like breaking up. It was just more being like, hey, like I don't. Well,
breaking up.
Have I? Okay, well, I don't know if this counts really, because I haven't really, I think most people, because oh no, actually I probably
She's like, shit, I ghosted all of them.
I'm like, have I ever? Okay, well, this one person that I feel like, okay, well, I was on a dating app, whatever, and we were talking, but it was just newly, like we had just newly like matched, and it was a couple, like they had asked questions about me, but going into it, I knew like I didn't see this person as like maybe I just wasn't attracted to them. So I didn't think it would go any further. So I just let them know, like, hey, like, I'm not really looking to like build a relationship with you, but you're super nice and we could be friends and just talk. Like I think I said something like that. So I don't know if that counts. But yeah.
I think it does. But how did you feel in that moment?
I felt better. I felt more relieved because they were their response was super nice and cool. So I felt like, oh wow, like they know and they still like kept talking. And they're not expecting anything from me, and I don't feel bad about myself because I just left them hanging, and they don't have like a sour opinion of me either. But yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, so how about you? Have you?
That was so I have done that. And I had to do it for someone that I actually was friends with first. So it was a lot harder, I want to say, because I was just like, God, this is like bad. Like it's like it's really hard to like end things with someone that you already cared about beforehand, even as a friend, and not
exactly.
Like
it's different. Yeah,
exactly. So
it's harder in your case. Yeah,
it's harder because you don't want to hurt them, but at the same time you're like, if this is not going anywhere, I don't want to drag it on. So, but after I did it, I felt alleviated of all the pressure that I was putting on myself, just to stay in whatever the situation was.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And it wasn't benefiting you if you weren't enjoying it. Like it wasn't going where you wanted to.
Exactly. And then like you said, compared to like me just ghosting those random people, like obviously in the moment I didn't care because I'm like, I've never met this person. But then like further on in my life, I'm just like, oh, it was kind of shitty of me to do as a person, just to like leave them hanging and like not respond to them when they're texting me constantly, you know? So it's I feel like there's a detachment that happens when you're just ghosting someone, but it creeps back up on you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like you think about it, you're like, wow. Or like, let's say you watch a video and it's on TikTok about ghosting and how you shouldn't do it. Then you think back to all the people.
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Exactly. It comes back. But go ahead.
Sorry, low key though, just to like conclude my first story. I'm happy I ghosted them because I stalked their Twitter, and the things that like their mindset based on their tweets is so like, I find them like so misogynistic, and like I was like, thank God I didn't. I was like, yo, honestly, good riddance. So sometimes ghosting is necessary, but most of the time try to avoid it. So
yeah, just like say what you need to say and move on from it, you know?
Exactly.
So moving on from that though, I want to talk about the talking stage. I have a lot to say on that. The talking stage is basically a ploy that we've created to kind of hide behind a phone and talk to the person that we're interested in, but we drag it on because we don't want to make the commitment to actually see them in person and create a real connection. And just we feel more comfortable talking behind a screen because again, there's no obligations, there's no strings attached, we're just chatting,
you know? Exactly.
And I feel like if we're stuck in the talking stage for like months, it kind of kills the vibe of when you actually meet in person, because 100%. You have nothing to talk about at that point because you've been talking for months, and like you're asking at that point, you're just asking them about their day because you know everything about them. And then when you go on this date, it's like an awkward dynamic because you don't know what to ask at that point. You're just gonna be like, oh yeah, how was your day?
You've talked about everything.
Exactly. And you're just continuously talking with the person. So it's like, what's the point of meeting at that point? Because at that point, you should just know if you want to be with them or not, because you've been talking for so long.
You've already dated all like throughout this whole conversation. Yeah.
Like, what is the point?
I think that's what happens though. Sometimes it's like, but that for me, I'm like literally if you don't ask me to meet up and hang out within like the next 2 days, like bruh, I'm ghosting you.
That's like, hey, not gonna work out. Peace.
Sorry, we haven't met. Or I'm gonna ask, honestly, Exactly. Maybe I'll ask, but depends. But exactly, it's just this vicious cycle where you're talking. Then probably at the end of it, you guys are both bored and you're not even gonna meet up. So like, what was the point?
If they're not putting in the effort, or you're not even putting the effort to like actually seeing you in real life, to me that means they don't want something that they can commit to, because it's like they don't want to actually meet me, they just want someone to like give them attention and talk to.
I personally think like you can develop a real relationship if you're just chatting online. Maybe if you like, let's say you're long distance and you just met and you're at least you're video chatting, okay. Then you're like, seeing each other, you're seeing how you guys act, talk for a little bit, whatever. That's okay. But if you're just like texting for like weeks and weeks, like I don't think you can develop like a true relationship, because you need to meet them to actually get to know them, to see like what makes them vulnerable, what are their little weird factor, like, things that they do, like actually get to know them beyond surface level.
Exactly. And also texting causes a lot of miscommunication, because they can't like, okay, emojis help, but like like you don't have the face-to-face cues that they're giving, so like you don't know what they're trying to say, how they're trying to say it, so sometimes you can take it badly. Like I know I've gotten into fights with my boyfriend because he would say something and I would take it badly, and he's like, but that's not what I meant, and like then you just get into an argument for no reason.
Exactly, because everyone's texting styles are so different. So if you're meeting someone like newly and they're like, you're not used to them, but you're interpreting it the way that you you know what I mean, like your style of texting, then you're gonna think like, oh, they're weird. Like, so that's why I think eventually meeting them in person is definitely a good idea. And what I was also gonna say is that like when you're texting, you can plan out what you're going to write. You can plan out your response when you're not on the spot. So it's not as like genuine. It's not as like, organic, spontaneous. When you're in person talking, you can see if there's chemistry, if it's flowing, if obviously chemistry, like I'm not going to say like within that one time, you're just going to have, it takes time to build. Right. But I feel like
I think you do know, like the first time you meet in person, you'll know like whether like, maybe I can go on a second date and see how this goes, or you'll know like, nah.
It's not the vibe for me. Exactly. I think a good texter is good, because I think a lot of times people don't put effort in texting. So I think if like we're getting to know each other, like
I don't put effort in texting.
That's me. I think if we're getting to know each other and you can show that you can still like be meaningful in your text within the first 2-3 days, that's good. But I don't need you to like, text me for the next 3 weeks, paragraphs,
Exactly. So. And I'm a type of person that I don't like texting, because I feel like texting is like small talk in a way, unless like you have something to say right away. So it's just like, I'd rather just not, like I barely text my boyfriend. I've said this in multiple episodes, because like I'd rather talk in real life and like say all my updates in real life, or like I'll send a snap of my face saying something, like stuff like that. So I just think like texting, like not meeting the person for a while also creates this like false illusion in your mind and expectation, because like you said, you're stalking their social media, and what do we put on social media? All the good times, the good things, all the good things, all the green flags. So it's like you don't really know who they are, so you're creating this expectation in your mind that you unfairly put on the other person too, because you think like, oh, they're this amazing person, but like everyone has some sort of baggage. And then like obviously if you're doing that, it's not going to work out, because you put them on this pedestal that they're not at, and once you meet them in person, it's just like gonna go downhill from there, because it's either like you're gonna be overhyping them before you meet them, and they're just like, as soon as you meet them, you're gonna be like, oh, this is it, like this is who they are, like it's not gonna be a good time for you.
Or I feel like the opposite can happen. So let's say you're having a great like convo, but then you stalk their social media, and like happened to me, you go on their Twitter or whatever, and you're like, red flag, but they never presented these in their text. So in a way, like maybe you're missing out, because you might be turned off and be like, oh, I'm not going out with this guy because like I saw all of their stuff and their personality through their social media is just not for me. But maybe they're not exactly like what they are on social media, so I don't know, it's very tricky.
But the whole idea is like you're making the judgment before you actually meet them in your life, which like everyone does. Let's be real, everyone does. But if you're talking for like 3 months before meeting them, then obviously that judgment is going to build, and that expectation is going to build, because like you've never met them in real life.
Exactly. And you get attached to, like, after that
Yeah.
time talking for a long time, like you're getting to know them. You're like, most of the times as human beings, we kind of see the best in people and we create these like not fantasies, but like this like life in our head with this person that we've never met. But it's not actually like that. Like your expectations are high.
You're getting the vibe off of text, and it's exactly what you said. We can take the time to craft the perfect text. So we're putting our best self in these texts and like just showing the best version of ourselves. So when we're in person, if we're thinking on the spot, like it's not going to be the same vibe. It's not going to be the same dynamic because like it might be my friends like texting you instead of me. You know, like,
can you write me? What do I answer to this?
Literally, we've all done it. So it's like, I think you just text for, I would say like maybe a month max, but sooner is better.
Even that's long.
Yeah. But a month.
I would say a week max.
Yeah, literally. But like a month is like cut off. If you're not meeting in real life by then, like it's not happening.
I think it depends though. If it's someone you previously like you know, and you guys are like, you know what I mean? Like you're reconnecting and then you're just talking a little, but you've met them before. So you kind of know.
I don't think so. I feel like at that point, if you actually want to get to know me, then
meet up with me. Yeah, true.
You know?
I say abolish the talking stage forever.
Abolish it. Because this didn't exist back then. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Because they didn't really like, maybe
they right away just planned a date and that's when you got to know them. True. Because again, you're missing all the verbal cues, the body cues. Like you don't know, like also back to the uncertainty thing, you don't know if they actually like you or they're just liking the attention that you're giving them because
you
don't see how they're actually interacting with you, you know?
100%. Yeah, I think now it's hard to find like genuine people and read if they're genuine because you're just it's all online texting. So it's really hard. I think we have certain like now because we don't meet in person as much as online, maybe we have like text cues where we can tell whether they're genuine or not, but that's very hard because you can plan everything through texting.
Yeah. And it's the same thing like you said, texting is different for everyone. So like I might take you saying lowercase LOL badly because I don't do that because I'm like that's a petty text, but you might just always text like that, you know? It's like I don't know. So again, the miscommunication can arise. So it's just like just meet up. Yeah,
exactly. And I think obviously like you can maybe somewhat plan how you talk or the way you're presenting yourself in person also, but it's definitely different because like
you're on the spot.
You're still reacting. You have your facial cues, your body movement, what is it called? Body language. Yeah. So anyways, dating, I personally find it really hard. And I don't know if it's for women that it's harder or for men as well. Maybe both for different reasons.
I think it's both. Yeah. Because it's also they're looking for different things. You don't know what they're looking for. And it's also like different relationships have different expectations, right?
Right. Exactly.
So and just gotta make those intentions clear.
Exactly. The communication. No, I feel like communication is the worst now because there's
communication in person.
In person, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, but also, sorry, I don't know if you want to move on to a different point, but I just want to mention, like, I think now women too, I don't know if men are like this too, I'm not sure, but in my perspective, women are more focused on other things at the moment, like their career, their passions, like rather than like relationships, settling down, having kids, getting married, and it's more accepted. Obviously, there's still like there's still pressure on women, but now they're more focused on like themselves, self-care, not looking for someone constantly, you know? So I think that may like change the game too in a way, whereas dating is not like the primary focus, which I think is good. It's refreshing.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get into dating for women specifically, I think we should talk about COVID specifically because COVID has drastically changed the way people date in relationships and out of relationships. So I have the in relationship perspective, but I do want to say that like because of COVID, I feel like people have become way more picky in who they choose to date because like A, they want to be safe, and B, they don't want to waste their time because they're like, I already lost 2 years of my life. I'm not going to lose time like dating you if I know if I know we're not going to have a future together. So I feel like it's like one of our friends said, because now it just came to mind, but one of our friends said like dating now is kind of like speed dating, because you're just like going through people over and over just to try to find the one person that you connect with. So I think that has escalated because of COVID, because you're just like,
exactly, I don't it's basically all speed dating.
You're like, I don't have time for these people.
Exactly.
You
know? Wait, you were talking about COVID. Yes. Sorry. Did you want to add something? I was like, what were
well, I was letting you say a
okay.
lot.
Yes. So, well, firstly, for me, I feel like COVID in a way is good and bad. It's harder like to date because like, you know, you can't maybe necessarily go inside someone's house, or you can't go to a restaurant because things are closed depending on where you are. Or like if it's the winter, you know, where are you going to sit? What are you going to do? Like where you walk around? People have become more creative though. But yeah, maybe people are not as interested too, because they're like, that's too much effort to like, it's too hard now to date. And then like you said, I can't do it with as many people, because then that increases my risk to get COVID or whatever. I think it depends on your mindset, but also in a way, I feel like there's less pressure during COVID, because like, let's say they want to kiss you on the first date and you don't want to, you can be like, use like they won't try as much. Yeah, exactly. But some people will, it just depends. But I feel like, or they would want to like usually they would invite you over, but not this time because of COVID. So maybe you feel less pressure to like go to someone's house that you just met, you know what I mean? So like in a way, I feel like it alleviates like some of the pressure, but that really depends on like who you're going out with.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
What their not values, but like how strict or how they're taking COVID, you know?
Yeah. And it was like you said before too, like because COVID kind of restricted us from going anywhere, like especially when we were in quarantine, we kind of took the time to be like, okay, I'm going to focus on myself. I'm not going to talk to people because like there's no point. Yeah. What are we going to do? We can't go out. I'm not going to stay stuck in this friggin' talking stage forever. Like we can't do that. But it's true. Yeah, but at the same time, people have been more creative. So like they've been doing FaceTime dates and like kind of counterbalancing that between texting and like actually seeing them face to face that way. I think for people in a relationship, it's become harder to not be stuck in a routine, because I know for me personally, a lot of the times when we can't go out, it's like we're at each other's houses watching TV, watching movies, and that's it. Right. Yeah. So like we've had to be more creative. So like we've done like a painting date. We did that like TikTok trend where you go try it. We do like I was supposed to say TikTok.
The food,
rock paper scissors,
right,
entree, like stuff like that. So like just being creative with what you're doing within the circumstances that like we're in. I think that's what's gonna help dating. And like again, like you said, a lot of the times you don't want to go out if you're meeting new people, because you're like, I don't know if they're being safe and I don't want to risk myself. So I think, like we said, like do FaceTime dates. You can do like, I know there's games that you can play on Zoom or something. Like just try to have fun with it and try to make the best out of the situation until we can finally get out of this freaking COVID situation. Because like,
but in a way also, I think like you had mentioned before, COVID kind of helped us become more antisocial, like be more comfortable with on our own, which is good, but it makes dating harder too, because you're kind of like, oh, like I don't want to get ready and go meet this friend, like put in so much effort when I'm so comfortable at home. Or like oh my god, I'm losing my train of thought.
Okay,
what did I say? Okay, that was pretty much it. But it just, I feel like it makes it harder to want to meet people and for people to want to meet you, because they're so like comfortable now being on their own. And it's almost like, is it going to be more awkward because I haven't socialized with people like this and people I've never met or like haven't spoken to in a while? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just harder to connect, I feel like.
Yeah. Especially in COVID, I like stopped texting everyone. I did not want to talk to anyone because I was just like, I'm tired of the same conversation over and over. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I don't know if it's just because I'm in a relationship and I'm not trying to meet someone new. So I don't know how it was for you if you're trying to meet people, but like, I just don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I like try.
Like, I don't care.
I don't care. That's why, like, I was trying to I was thinking about this. I'm like, have I always been a bad texter, or is this new? Because I feel like before I used to answer people more quickly. I used to like, but now because I know I have so much time to answer people because I'm doing the same thing.
Literally.
I think I don't exactly, and I know no one else is like having, well, like people are doing stuff, but it's like nothing out of the ordinary for most people. So I'm not in a rush to answer. I'm just very like, and because my life is not as fast paced, I just don't answer people for weeks sometimes. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I take one day to like, okay, who did I not answer?
No, I feel you. Them. And I feel like at the beginning, people felt like because we were home, like you're supposed to be available, you need to answer me. So like people would text, and I'm just like, I don't like, leave me alone. I need my alone time.
Exactly. And also now I feel like because self-care is more emphasized, part of self-care is like answer when you want to, don't feel rushed. So I think people take that more into account, and they like, okay, they put themselves first. Like, I'm not going to answer this person right now because I don't feel like it. But
yeah, exactly. So let's get into, we kind of touched upon it, but dating for women specifically. So we said some points, but I think what I noticed when I was doing research, and me as a woman, it's like, yes, we have a lot more freedom to date, and we have a lot more choices, I find, when we're dating, but at the same time, it's still hard to date as a woman because of like all the stuff that we said. But like we were touching upon, where there's still like a lot of harassment that goes on. So like, I feel like we have to always think of what we do and what we say, especially in heteronormative, is that the word?
Relationships.
Okay, yeah.
I think so.
I was like, in heterosexual relationships. Let's
just read that.
I feel like a lot of the times it's like we always have to be careful with how we react to things, because especially if we don't know the guy that we're seeing, we don't know how they're gonna react. And we've seen so many videos on the internet of like someone, like a woman just saying no to a man and then just beating them up, like for no reason, or like yelling at them, swearing at them, calling them a bitch, just because
traumatizing them, basically.
Exactly. Just because they said no to like wanting to date them. So I feel like we have the power to like go on multiple dates and like do what we want. Like we can have a casual relationship. We don't have to have a commitment and like stuff like that. But at the same time, we still have to be careful. So we're kind of like, when we're first dating, I feel like we're kind of walking on ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like tiptoeing into things because we're like, how are they actually going to be with me?
Exactly. And I think women in general have to be more cautious. Like they, especially if you're meeting someone, this man you've never met, you don't know them, you have to like, you don't like, we can't be out too late at night because you don't know who's hanging around. Like it's more dangerous. You don't know this person. You have to be in the mindset that like anything could happen. This person could like try to harm me or anything like that. But also like you never truly know someone. Like there are stories that you hear that like this person was married for 5 years and he ended up like killing someone. You know what I mean? Like you don't know any, but that you can say about anyone. But in most of the stories are usually targeted towards like the men that become like have this like double life. But I think also you just need to be more cautious when you're dating. You need to like, maybe you need to carry like an alarm with you just in case, or like, you know what I mean? Exactly. So women are like, I think they think twice before actually going out with someone, or they have to feel secure before they're actually like willing to say yes, or they're like sending their friends their location. They're like, okay, if something happens, like,
which is kind of sad that we have to worry about that, but at the same time it's better to be safe than sorry.
Right, exactly.
So it's like I know myself, I'm very reserved with other people. I have a hard time trusting people, but that's also our generation, as I explained. But like a lot of the times it's like I won't talk to people unless I've known them beforehand. But that's just me personally. So I know like getting to know people that you've never known before is a lot harder to do because of all these reasons that we just said.
Exactly. I think most people would prefer to just like, date someone they've met before rather than like going on a date with someone they've never met. But I think because our dating norm now has shifted towards like online dating apps and all of that. Women are like forced to kind of like just hop on that trend because let's say they're trying to find someone. Well, what are the ways to find someone? Like you could go to a bar or something, but it's not the same. Like you have more options and it's more accessible to just like go on the dating apps, you know? So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Dating apps are just like weird. I find it's like it could work out, but most of the times it's a waste of time. Like, but that depends. That depends on you, right? Depends how you see it.
Yeah, I think it's also the intention that you have going into it, where you're like, if I know right away from this conversation that this person's not looking for someone serious, then I'm just gonna move on if that's what I'm looking for.
Right. I feel like for people who are looking for something serious, dating apps are harder to get, like they're harder to result in what you want. If you're just looking for casual dating, that dating apps are great because like it's
exactly.
So
exactly. So a bit on casual dating as a woman, I feel like the stigma, there's still a stigma about women being called sluts and whores for dating multiple people, whereas men 100%. Are like considered gods for doing that. And like I honestly feel like it's gonna take so much time for that stigma to go away. But as a woman, I feel like on social media now, there's a lot more like women preaching power over that. And like I know I personally, like on TikTok, let's say, I see a lot of like women like boasting about it and being like, I'm dating multiple people, but like I'm just leaving my options open because like I want to find the one that fits me the best and like stuff like that. So I feel like being able to share that experience if you're going through that with others is like huge, because at least other women can see that they're like, you're making that powerful, rather than like if men are saying it and like talking about it, they're like belittling you because of it.
Exactly. Like it's definitely more, people are more open about it. It's more accepted. So people like vocalize it more. And there's more like communities of women like supporting each other on that and like to have that opinion. But I think the only way like it'll really be like everyone accept this way of thinking is like if they educate like their children, you know what I mean? Because the thing is, what happens is that it goes in a circle, right? There's half, like everything's divided. Some people think that yes, you should be able to date casually as a woman and it should be something empowering and cool and like positive. And then there's people that are more traditional. So it's like until you know those people, there's always going to be that person that's going to have that traditional mindset. Then they're going to teach their children that, or their children is going to grow up or maybe just create this mindset on their own, you know? So it's like, but I think we're on a good path and we're like, there's more openness and it's way more like you can come out in the open about it way more and talk about it freely without being like harassed and bullied as much.
Yeah, exactly. And also on that, on the flip side, I feel like a lot of people call these women whores and stuff like that because they still have the idea in their mind that like they need to get married, they need to have kids, they blah blah blah. But I feel like although we still have that pressure from family to like, they always ask like, oh, when are you getting married, when are you having kids, blah blah blah. I feel like it is more acceptable right now to like have families later in life, and that's kind of what's happening, where a lot of women and like men too, they're waiting until their 30s to actually like get married, have kids, blah blah blah. And like because we have advancements in medical technology, it's a lot safer to do that, so we don't need to rush into having children just because we're scared that we won't be able to. You know?
100%. And also now I think people are more open, like some women don't want to have children, so it's like people are more accepting of that and people know that, oh, that's actually like an option, and there's more conversation. I think we're just more aware too of just like different wants and other than the norm from women and men. And so that's really good.
We're more aware of our rights because in like 20 years ago, not even like,
I know it's so weird how it wasn't even like,
it's so recent, but like we were always like, okay, you need to get married, you need to have the kids, you need to raise them, you need to be the mother, blah blah blah. But now it's like, no, you don't need, you can be the fun aunt.
Oh my God,
be the fun godmother. You don't need to have children, you can just be around and be living your life.
100%. You know? Fun aunt. We love the fun aunts, the cool aunts. But you just made me think of something. But when I was doing research, basically they kind of like did a poll, and the statistics said that usually women are less happy when they're married compared to when they're not married, whereas men are happier when they're married because when they're married compared to when they're like single or not married, because usually women, you know, are gonna do more of the childcare. Women are the one carrying, you know, the children's, and even like household chores. Like most of the times, the woman is the one taking care of that. It could just be like maybe just a personality thing. Like maybe they're more like the cleansing.
I think it's that, but also the family dynamics.
Exactly. It obviously depends, but statistically speaking, the majority of women are less happy in marriages. And which that made me, I was like, so sad. Yeah. And I was like, that is really sad. Cause like, it kind of makes sense though. Cause the man is kind of getting like, he's getting the life. He has the girl, he's getting the children that he doesn't have to push out. You know what I mean? Like the house is looking nice.
So I think it really depends on who you're surrounding yourself with and also the way you're raised, because personally in my family, the women were always stronger. Like we have very strong, confident, like big personality women. So like the men in our lives are always like supporting that and kind of share the responsibilities. Like I'm thinking of, like my cousins and my like my personal family, like they always like share the work, you know what I mean? So I'm used to that. So I'm gonna look for someone that's gonna be like that, because I'm not gonna take any less. And I like Nick is like that. Like thankfully I found someone that like is very supportive and like will do things for me and not put all the pressure on me. So I feel like as a woman, you need to look for those qualities and not settle for anything less. So like if you're in a relationship and the guy's expecting you to do everything, snip. Not keeping them.
Maybe just don't get married. You can date them, like continue being boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know, but
maybe was it called common law, where you're not married but you have children at that point, or you're like you've just been together for so long that they just consider you
after 2 years. Like I think
after 2 years.
After 2 years that you live together, I think you become like, I forgot what it is, but like I don't know what it's called, but like
only
the
2
years that they own. Like no, I swear it's after living together for 2 years. I think I forgot what the regulation is, but like their stuff kind of becomes like yours too or something like that.
What?
I swear.
I don't like that.
I looked into it.
I don't really
look into it later.
I feel like it's more. It has to be more than 2 years. That makes no sense.
I don't. Should we?
Okay, look it up. Okay. Let's get our facts straight before we put this out.
I think it's what you said. Common law. If you live together 2 years. If you live 2 years together, you get 50% of assets, right? Oh no, it says wrong. House are moving. But I swear I heard this somewhere.
It doesn't make sense for it to only be 2 years.
Anyways, no. Maybe I'm not, probably my statement is not fully correct, but I saw something about like when you're living together for 2 years, the assets something. I don't know if it's when you break apart or when you're together that like I was gonna mention like hookup culture, but it was just like something I had already mentioned. But it's more that like I see it a lot now just on social media and like TikTok. It's like it's kind of the same point as to like women can't find men that are looking for the same thing as them. So like a serious relationship or just casual dating, because hookup culture has become such a like easily accessible, like because of the dating app. So it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just that people are not into the meaningful, like deep connections as much because they just kind of want to like hook up and go to the next, you know what I mean? So that was just pretty much that, but it's very much a thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why people are getting married and into committed relationships so much later in life, because they're like, let me have my fun first, and then I'll settle down.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, because of all that, we have some dating advice to give you guys. So Afi, you just slide in if you have something.
I'm gonna add my I got you.
But okay, so I think I'm first gonna talk about relationship advice if you're already in a committed relationship, and then I'll give some if you're not. So if you're living together, this is a big thing that I've heard a lot of podcasters talk about. If you're living together and you're kind of in this routine that you're always home, you need to create a rule with you and your partner that at least once a week you'll get out of the house and go do something. And it doesn't have to be something that you pay a lot for. So like you can go to a nice dinner if you want to, but you can also just go for a walk, go to a museum, do like a fun activity together, like go skiing, like
go
something
window
like that.
shopping, like
go window, yeah. Shopping is my favorite date. Okay,
exactly.
Like just do something together that's not in your house to kind of like keep things interesting, because it can get boring if you're just like, you're going to work, especially for working from home. You're stuck at home all day working. You finish work, you have to cook supper, like both of you, and then you eat, you go on the couch, and that's it. And then you pass out.
Exactly.
Like you can't do that. You got to keep things interesting, keep things spicy, you know?
Exactly. Even if COVID is there, just find something creative to do. Like Kathy said, paint together. Go for a walk, chat, and like I was watching a TikTok of this cute couple where they just kind of were like cozy on the couch, and we're just like talking about like not deep talks, but just like connecting kind of just on their own, and like had a candle lit. Like it doesn't have to be extravagant, you know, it could be like,
you need to make the time to keep the connection going, you know what I mean? Don't just disassociate from each other and just stay on the couch watching TV. Like, yes, that's good quality time, but if you're constantly doing it, it's kind of like we're just stuck in this boring routine, you know?
Exactly. And I think we always say this, but communication. So like if in the moment something's bothering you and maybe you don't want to talk about it right away, that's fine. But like, just make sure you let it out. You don't want to resent your partner. Then it'll build up. And then like another thing is going to annoy you. And then you'll have like so many things piling up. So just like something's bothering you, let them know and just like get it out of the way. But communicate.
Exactly. Okay. My next point is like, you need time alone, and you need to set the boundary that like, if you're living alone, you need to be like, okay, for the next hour, I'm going to be in this room. Please don't bother me. I need my alone time. I need to do what I want to do for a bit. And kind of like, you still have to live your separate lives, even if you're living together or if you're in a committed relationship. So it's it's the same thing. Yeah. But like, you need to spend time doing what you like that they might not necessarily like to do. So you can't always compromise what you like and like kind of do things together all the time, because it's like you need to live your separate life and have the separation, or else like you're going to be too codependent on them, and it's not going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking of this. I know it sounds a bit crazy and it's not done as much, but like, because sometimes I feel like couples are so stuck. Like, let's say they're living together, they're married or whatever. Most people will live together, and you know they have one bedroom, and I feel like that's so like you don't get your own space. So I would say like, look, if you can, and if you feel like you're this type of person, what if you had 2 bedrooms?
Honestly, a lot of people do that, which I didn't know. I feel like a lot of couples do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I wouldn't need a separate bedroom necessarily, but I do need a separate, like an office. Do my stuff. Exactly. Or like, I'm in the living room, you stay in your bedroom, in our bedroom, you know, like I need just a room separating us.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. So it can be that. And it doesn't mean necessarily you have to sleep separately every night, but it's just so that you have a space. Because I feel like for a long time in your life, you know, you have your own space, you have your own bedroom, you know. Some people might not, maybe they share with their siblings or whatever, but like most of the times. So, and then going through that transition where you're just stuck with someone.
It would be suffocating. Yeah, suffocating.
Yeah. I can't do that. I know. Some people actually too, like tell me like, oh, I would want to live in separate apartments. Like maybe when they're boyfriend or girlfriend or something, which I understand. Like, you know, you don't always have to live together. You could still have your own lives and be together and not have to live together. Like, I don't think living together is essential in having a good relationship.
Yeah. Like if you've been together for so long, it doesn't necessarily mean like the next step is to live together. Like you can still have your separate lives until you're completely ready, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's just become so normal to like, oh, like you're together. Okay, just live together now. Why would you not?
Exactly.
What if you're married though and you live separately? Is that weird?
If you're married and you live separately,
but you don't have kids.
Well, if you had kids, you know what comes to mind is like in Sex and the City, which I don't know if you remember or if you saw the movie.
Maybe mention
but
it. I saw the movie, but like
they moved into an apartment together, but she kept her old apartment as like a separation. So when she can go there to write, but then she like
nice.
They like recommended like
yes, it's
they recommended
Jessica.
Yeah, for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes. Not Jessica. But, Jessica. But they recommended like, oh, like what if for 3 days I'm at my old apartment so I can write and like do my stuff and stuff like that. Like, exactly. I think it would work for some people, but I feel like if you're married, I don't know. I'm like, you're super committed at that point. Why would you like you could just already have separation space in your exactly in like different rooms. True. Yeah, but I also sense. Like I'm not in that situation, so I can't talk to that.
Exactly. But I guess it depends if you know you really would feel more comfortable or like better having your own spot in case, and then I don't know. It just depends. But like I think it's whatever floats your boat and whatever is gonna suit your lifestyle.
Exactly. Okay, so do you have any relationship tips?
If not, I don't have much to offer from experience. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't know, maybe you know. Pretty much whatever I said here and what Kathy said. Kathy knows.
Okay, so let's move on to single tips. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a question, but like, how do you think? I know this is a hard question, but how do you think the right way to date is to find like your partner? Which is a hard question to answer because there's no right way, maybe.
So I can speak on my personal experience the one time that it worked because this is my only relationship. And I feel like the difference between actually getting a committed relationship and just dating and not really going anywhere was that I kind of took the pressure off myself and kind of went into it like, okay, I'm just gonna have fun. And then I'll see, like, have fun, like date casually. And then if it leads somewhere, then I'll just go with the flow. I'll just follow along whatever's happening. But I think because it didn't work out in my other situationships, it was mostly because like, I'm like, my end goal is to date this person.
You know so you were too focused on like...
I was too like, okay, I need them to say that they like me back.
Other than your genuine feelings, like you weren't focused on like what you were feeling, but you were just focused on like.
And I think it was also then where I was like creating that illusion, about the guy that I was interested in, because I was like, I was young, so I was kind of like, oh, they're gonna be like my first boyfriend. It's gonna be so fun, blah blah blah. And then like it wouldn't work out, but I would still kind of like just keep them in the back burner type, like, oh I still like them, but like I'm just not gonna pursue them at this one because like nothing's happening from it, you know what I mean? But then going into this relationship, I went into this because it happened in the summer, but I went into the summer being like, okay, I just want to fling. I don't want any strings attached. I just want to have fun. And I think because I wasn't putting the pressure to like the end goal is to date this person, that's when it happened, which is kind of corny to say, but that was a difference in my
life. Not in your head as much, and you're actually getting to know the person rather than being like, I feel like now it's like, okay, look, if you date someone, you date someone, but you're not necessarily constantly like looking and to find a relationship with like whoever you meet.
And I think I was also not trying to be perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was just kind of like, this is me.
Yeah.
And take it or leave it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not there. You go. I'm not committed into this
more confident too. You were more confident in yourself. Yeah. I love that. Cool. I just want to know.
But it could also have been like because of the situationships that happened that I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that bullshit again. So let me just like feel free.
You learned something from it, right? You learned something from it. Yeah. We love it.
Okay. Oh my
God. You changed your ways. Hint, hint to our last episode.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Moving on from that, kind of the same thing that I just said actually, but like be mindful about having fun while dating. So like it's literally exactly what I just said, but a lot of the times we stress out when we're dating because like if there's a lack of connection or a lack of meeting people and like nothing's coming from it, we feel like we put pressure on ourselves and we're kind of like, okay, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I finding the right person? But like dating is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a time to get to know someone instead of just the talking stage. So like you need to go into going on a date as like, okay, I'm just meeting this person. Like not having the idea in mind, like, okay, I need to kiss them, I need them to become my boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever. Like you just go on the date, be like, okay, I'm having a nice meal with someone, I'm gonna enjoy their company, and that's it.
Exactly. The way you said that, you're like, I need them to become my boyfriend and girlfriend. I was like, oh, that's literally, but so that's the thing. It happens in your head because you create these ideas, and we're gonna blame movies for that and just pop culture. Yeah. But no,
definitely. That's what the
be more
media portrays.
mindful. Yeah, exactly. And just like, don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Just go with the flow and know you're the shit when you go into it. And then
exactly.
Like, and I think also one thing that just ties into it, I think as women too, we're taught that like the end goal of life as a woman is to be in a relationship, reproduce, and that's your goal. But that's not everyone's goals, and that doesn't have to be yours. So relationship is just like, it could be it doesn't have to be the main purpose in your life. Just be a fun hobby that you're just doing on
literally though. Like, and it's keep your options open. You don't need to date one person and that's it. And like, people also need to understand, like, you shouldn't be putting that expectation on the other person to not date other people, because you're not official yet. You're not committed to the other person yet. You're just trying to get to know them. So obviously, like, it's kind of like you have to think of it as like you made a new friend and you're building this connection with a friend, but they also have other friends and you're not taking up all their time. So it's kind of like the same thing where you have to think like, yeah, I'm allowed to have options and I can have fun with these options because I have no obligations to these persons, these people.
Persons, yeah.
These people.
But persons is a word too, no?
It is a word, but every time I say it, it sounds wrong.
I don't know. Yeah, me too. I'm like, wait, how do I use it? Anyway. Yeah. And I also think well, you have more than one soulmate, remember? Well, that's what I believe. So like,
I believe that too.
If it doesn't work out with someone, like, you're gonna find someone you connect with too, and that'll reciprocate those feelings also. So,
and there's a bunch of like, if you're thinking of it that way, there's a lot of different types of love, and it's normal to fall in love with a lot of people. So just don't put that pressure on yourself to be like, no, I have to choose the one right away and like find the person right away, and that's it. That's
exactly. Just know.
Okay. With that, I also want to say, don't put too much pressure on your date. So exactly like we said before, your expectations should be low when meeting people because you have no idea who these people are. So you need to allow, you need to allow the vibes and the conversation flow before you make a judgment call on them, before even meeting them. So don't come to the date with a checklist in your mind, which I know a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're just trying to meet someone and vibe with them, enjoy their company, like I said. So don't expect them to be the perfect person that you need in your life.
Exactly. I think you have to allow people, like your date or whoever you're meeting, to have room for not error, but like not to be flawless, like Kathy said. Like, they're not gonna be perfect. Like, obviously, like, yes, there are some things that may give you the ick, and I think you can be the judgment for that and see like, okay, where's the line where like, okay, this is weird, and where are you letting it slide, you know? But just don't expect them to be exactly like everything they say is just like wow, and like chemistry, every word is just magical. Like, no, it's probably not going to be like that.
Yeah, everyone has an ick about them. Even the people I care about, I'm like, some things they do, I'm like, ick. Like, no.
But you still love them.
You still love them. I don't know. Sorry, I'm holding my AirPods.
No, it's okay. I'm just laughing because you're like, but yes.
You can't expect people to be perfect if you're not perfect either. You know?
And you learn to love the icks, like our friends, like if they have icks, but we love them for those icks too. You know what I mean? And they're our friends because
I'm like,
I would love them without the icks. But
no, but you can't expect someone to be perfect, exactly what you said. So like, don't put that pressure on them, because also you're not going to have fun on that date because they're not meeting your expectations. And a date, again, is supposed to be fun.
Exactly. Just have fun, get a meal.
Yeah.
Do some fun activities.
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, they say 50-50.
You should still offer to pay.
Run.
I mean, you should still offer to pay, but if they expect you to be paying, if you're a woman, no, I'm kidding.
Honestly, I think, like we'll feel like we have to offer, but like low-key, no, which is like, we like,
I think, but that's a personal preference, you know?
Huh? Yeah, exactly.
It's a personal preference, but
exactly.
So I think with that, I think we can end the episode. Afi, before we end it, what's your one biggest takeaway from this episode? I think we should do that for every episode.
Yes, that's good, right? Like a summary. Yeah. My takeaway, I think, is that dating shouldn't be your end goal, and it should be kind of a side thing. Just if you're gonna do it, have fun. Don't be too much in your head, and you have other things to offer than just like, finding the right one for you. So I think that should just go with the flow, and don't maybe put all your effort into looking for it, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. I think my biggest takeaway is to never have expectations.
Just drop those expectations.
Like,
but that's so hard to like not to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, obviously it's like you're
gonna have some.
I think the way you have to look at it is like you have your personal preference, and you shouldn't settle for less than that, but don't go into it with expecting that they're gonna match those preferences.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Random. Sorry. I'm like, we're ending it, but how do you know when the person actually has red flags and they have multiple icks, or that you're just creating an excuse because you're scared and you don't actually, like, you're scared of dating and getting to know someone, being vulnerable? Like, how do you differentiate those two? Because it's so hard. I think in those
circumstances, I personally would look to friends or family to kind of like point them out, because it is difficult when you're in the situation to be like, to make excuses for those red flags. You know what I mean? And we did have an episode on red flags. If you guys want to go listen to it, we'll link it. But yeah, I think like a lot of the times when you're in it, it's hard to see the bad in them, because you're so often looking for what's the good and the best about them. So like when you're kind of like talking to friends or family about it, I feel like they can kind of pinpoint things and kind of like point them out to you. And then it's up to you to make the decision whether or not that's a complete red flag, or
it's just you being exactly. Okay, cool. Okay, that's all.
But yeah, I think self-sabotaging is a completely different episode that we can talk about.
That's true, right? Yeah, that should be another thing, because I think that happens a lot.
I think that's it's often happening. But I think with that, I think we can end this.
Yes, exactly. Thank you guys so much for watching, listening, and as usual, follow us on our Instagram, Wild Thoughts Pod. We have TikTok, Facebook. Make sure to leave a comment on our YouTube or Instagram. You can subscribe to YouTube, like, share, all that good stuff. And of course, leave us your feedback and let us know how you enjoyed this episode or any other episodes. And we're always open to more ideas. And follow us on our personal social medias. They're all going to be linked below too. And that's a wrap.
Season 5. Woo!
Season 5. What is it called when it's the first episode? What is it called again?
Premiere.
Wow.
The
premiere.
I don't know why I sounded like that. Okay, well. I feel like this was a really good episode to start on. We had a lot to say, so hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.